Over the past year, Camp Cretaceous has taken center stage in the Jurassic World fandom. The characters of Darius, Kenji, Brooklyn, Yasmina, Sammy, Ben, and Bumpy have all had tons of attention due to the success of Camp Cretaceous' 2 seasons on Netflix thus far. But now with the next season upon us, here's a recap of the events of Seasons 1 and 2 of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous to get you caught up for Season 3. Sometime in 2015, Darius Bowman becomes the first person in the world to beat the Jurassic World VR game, granting him a free pass to Jurassic World's Camp Cretaceous. December 19th, 2015, Camp Cretaceous' first campers come for the opening day of the new Jurassic World camp, bringing 6 kids together from vastly different backgrounds. We are introduced to Brooklyn, an internet vlogging star, Kenji, an arrogant rich kid, Sammy, the child of wealthy cattle farmers, Yasmina, a successful teen athlete, Ben, the son of an employee of Mizrani Global who has many fears, and finally Darius, a dinosaur enthusiast who beat a video game to win his spot at the camp. During the first night at camp, Darius and Kenji sneak out to the raptor paddock, getting in a life-threatening predicament to then be saved by the camp counselors Roxy and Dave. December 20th then, Darius and Kenji are put on dino dung duty as punishment for them sneaking out the day before. But they decide to stuff their responsibilities to explore and come across the Carnotaurus Toro in its paddock, of which they narrowly escape the dinosaur, causing a scar on Toro's face in the process of their escape. Meanwhile, while Darius and Kenji were exploring, the rest of the campers were allowed to see a genetics lab where the campers meet Bumpy, the baby Ankylosaurus, and Brooklyn is later caught snooping Dr. Wu's private office. Then later that evening, a mysterious figure is seen giving a Jurassic World hard drive to a spy drone, which takes the hard drive off island and is never seen again. December 21st, the campers are granted access to gyrospheres to explore the plains and follow dinosaurs being herded to new grazing pastures. But during the herding, a storm approaches, making the camp counselors nervous. Due to their radios having interference from the storm, the counselors leave the campers to find extra help in getting the kids back to camp. Seeing a lone Sinoceratops stray from the rest of the herd, the campers decide to try and herd it back to the rest of the dinosaurs on their lonesome. But their adventure is interrupted when they spook the Sinoceratops, causing it to charge the gyrospheres and causing one to veer away into a mud pit, putting Darius and Brooklyn in danger of drowning in mud. The other campers find the sinking gyrosphere with Darius and Brooklyn inside, and they band together to then save them. But during the events, Sammy grabs a small skin sample from the Sinoceratops, which Brooklyn sees. Then December 22nd, Roxy, one of the camp counselors, deems Camp Cretaceous too dangerous for only 2 counselors and tries to speak with Claire Deering about her concern and upping the staff. Unable to hail Deering, Roxy and Dave then decide to leave the campers alone at the camp to then go and speak with management in person. While the counselors are gone, the Indominus Rex breaks out of its enclosure and then begins its rampage across the island. Unaware of the impending danger, the campers become bored, and Sammy then steals Brooklyn's phone to cover her tracks of her espionage. The Indominus Rex finds its way to Camp Cretaceous and then threatens the campers. The campers find a van and escape the Indominus, finding their way to the genetics lab that they had visited only 2 days earlier. Inside, they find a geneticist, Eddie, hiding and scared. But when he finds out the campers have their own van, he leaves them behind to try and escape with the van alone, but then he is later found and eaten by the Indominus Rex. The campers decide to make their way toward the river adventure ride to try and make it to the main resort, where they believe that they can find some help. Taking the river adventure leads them to the Mosasaurus Lagoon instead, where the campers work together to narrowly escape the aquatic reptile. After collecting themselves, the campers realize they need to take the monorail to the docks to make it in time for the last evacuation ferry. With Toro the Carnotaurus in the way, the campers evade the dinosaur and hop onto the monorail, but shortly after come under attack by pteranodons. While fending off the pteranodons, the kids realize the monorail is going in the wrong direction away from the ferries. Ben goes to change the monorail's course, but after completing his task, he is grabbed by a pteranodon and falls away from the monorail toward the ground below. December 23rd, pushing on, the remaining campers decide to take the maintenance tunnels in an attempt to make it to the ferry in time. However, making their way through the tunnels, the kids once again encounter Toro in the underground tunnels. trapping them in an underground storage bay with nowhere to escape. With no other choice, the campers band together to fight Toro, leading to the climax where the kids lure Toro near a gas line to then make it explode, and Toro gets caught up within the explosion. Toro survives the blast, but limps away down the tunnels with charred skin, and the campers discover that the explosion caused a hole in the wall of the storage bay, allowing them to escape out next to the ferry docks. However, after running out to the docks, the campers realize all of the ferries have already departed, leaving them stranded on Isla Nublar alone. After realizing their plight of being stranded alone, the campers make their way to Main Street to try and find something to help them contact the mainland. The kids find a distress beacon in one of the artificial trees, but it is taken by the T-Rex into the T-Rex kingdom for her nest that she is building. While the Rex is away from her nest, Darius and Kenji go in and activate the distress beacon, where the show's audience then sees that the emergency signal is actually being received by someone off the island. After activating the beacon, the kids make their way back to the destroyed Camp Cretaceous, where they get to work building an elaborate treehouse as a new means for a base camp for the campers. Sometime after this, Darius, Brooklyn, and Sammy come across a veterinary clinic while they're looking for supplies, and there they find dinosaurs locked in cages. The campers release the dinosaurs, including a lone baryonyx, which reunites it with two other baryonyxes before they all run off together. Sometime after this, the campers realize that their water supply is being depleted, as the creek that supplies them is stocked up somewhere upstream. Darius and Kenji explore to see what it is that blocks the water when they find a watering hole for the dinosaurs, a place that acts as a neutral ground for herbivores and carnivores to drink together in harmony. Darius and Kenji unblock the creek and get water back to base camp, but meanwhile, Brooklyn, Sammy, and Yaz follow a sound into the jungle, finding that it leads to the genetics labs along the way. When exploring the lab, the girls find an envelope labeled E750 and a key card granting them access to all of the park. After returning to the treehouse base camp, the kids look off into the night to see that there is a campfire far off. Running to the fire in hopes of finding other people, the campers come across Mitch, Tiff, and Hap, three people saying that they're wildlife photographers. Mitch and Tiff welcome the kids to their campsite and work to befriend the kids, while Hap remains cold and standoffish, causing Brooklyn to become suspicious. Darius, excited to have another dinosaur nerd with Mitch, excitedly tells him about all of his observations of the dinosaurs, including the watering hole that he had just discovered. Later, Kenji and Brooklyn are shocked to find Ben alive, but he brings news that Mitch, Tiff, and Hap are not who they appear to be. Darius also ends up realizing this, but by then it's too late, and him and Sammy become prisoners to Mitch and Tiff, who are now revealed to be poachers. Mitch instructs Darius to take him and Tiff to the watering hole so that they can hunt dinosaurs, and in return, the campers will then be able to get off of the island with the poachers. But if Darius refuses, the campers will be left stranded in Jurassic World. Meanwhile, Kenji, Ben, and Brooklyn capture Hap and interrogate him about why the adults have been lying to the campers. Hap tries to explain that he was only trying to protect the kids from Mitch and Tiff when the three baryonyxes interrupt and chase Hap, Ben, Kenji, and Brooklyn. Hap tells the kids to escape as he holds off the dinosaurs alone, and he is never seen again in Season 2. Yaz links up with Brooklyn, Ben, and Kenji, and they explore Main Street to find a secondary control room. Getting some of Jurassic World's systems back online, they find that they have camera views of all over the island. However, while Kenji was getting power back on, he overloaded power to a mysterious cryo-chambers generator, causing it to begin thawing out a mysterious creature. Meanwhile, Darius and Sammy try evading Mitch and Tim on Main Street when the T-Rex steps out to add extra chaos to the events. The campers in the control room see Darius and Sammy in trouble, so they begin creating distractions with lights to help their friends. During the confusion, Darius and Sammy escape Mitch, Tiff, and the T-Rex. But as Mitch and Tiff chase back into the jungle, a single baryonyx charges Tiff before she shoots and kills the dinosaur. The next morning, Darius confronts Mitch and Tiff at the watering hole before the rest of the campers initiate a stampede of dinosaurs. During the commotion, the T-Rex shows up and begins hunting in the giant herd of dinosaurs. Mitch and Tiff run into the jungle to avoid the T-Rex, when Mitch gets caught in one of his own dinosaur snares. After struggling with the rope for some time, Tiff gives up and decides to leave Mitch when the T-Rex arrives, sealing his fate to the jaws of the Tyrannosaurus. Tiff runs to her boat at the dock and casts off, mocking the campers back on land as they are stranded yet again. Thinking that she's home free, Tiff reminisces back at the failed hunting trip and the loss of her husband before realizing that the remaining 2 baryonyxes had sneaked onto the boat and then had proceeded in killing her, assumedly as revenge for their fallen sibling. The campers look off at the ocean, again upset with being unable to escape Jurassic World. But then Darius turns to see Ben alive and is reunited with him for the first time since Ben's supposed death in Season 1. Filled with new hope, the campers resolve to find their own way off of the island. However, a cut of power elsewhere in the park causes the cryo chamber in a room labeled E750 to lose power, releasing the creature that was trapped within it. And that is the recap of Seasons 1 and 2 of Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous. I finally saw Camp Cretaceous this last April, and it has been an interesting show thus far. I know I made a video a while back saying I wasn't going to watch the show until Netflix removed a certain movie, so you might be seeing this as a lack of morals. In the description, I have detailed why I chose to change my tone and watch the show on Netflix. But I want it to be clear I never had an issue with the show itself, which would lead me to not want to watch it. The show has been an interesting watch, and now that we have Season 3 coming out, which will open up new parts of the Jurassic World lore, especially with the introduction of the hybrid E750, I'm excited to now watch Season 3 on Netflix. But what are your thoughts on Jurassic World Camp Cretaceous? Do you enjoy the show, or is it just something to watch until Dominion comes out in 2022? Leave your thoughts below in the comments section, and if you think that we deserve it, please subscribe to Dino Park Media and hit the bell notification button to stay up to date with all the videos that we upload each week. We are on our journey to 1,000 subscribers, and your subscription is greatly appreciated. Thank you for watching Dino Park Media today, and before we go, know you are loved.